Hi everyone, Matthew here at AAWeatherWatch, taking a look at the weather through the course of the coming week, obviously Monday the 9th through to Friday the 13th. Now the weather through the course of the coming week will generally be very October-like. Changeable is another good word to use once again this week. There will be some drier and brighter weather at times, but equally there will be spells of wet and windy weather too, which again is quite typical for this point in October, or this time of year as well. Importantly as well, generally it will be quite a mild week, especially compared with the last couple of weeks, which have been pretty cool, and especially so by the time we get to the end of the week, it will become very mild indeed, if not actually locally quite warm. Now back to the short term, a satellite imagery shows a deep area of low pressure spinning away to the east of Greenland and within the North Atlantic within the region here. And essentially weather systems associated with this deep low are now beginning to drift into Ireland from the west, and that will essentially lead to a pretty cloudy and rather increasingly damp afternoon and evening through the rest of Monday. But something of an improvement is then forecast into Tuesday, but this region of clouds spilling out of parts of eastern Canada and northeastern areas of the USA, this region here, maintains a risk of further weather systems, particularly by the time we get through to the middle of the week. Just taking a quick look at latest satellite and rainfall radar imagery across the country, you can see mostly cloudy conditions are prevailing across many areas at the moment, and again there's the patchy light rain and drizzle steadily moving eastwards through the day, and that essentially emphasises the weather through the remainder of Monday. Again, yes, some drier weather out there, but equally there will be some patchy rain and drizzle moving eastwards at times through the rest of the day. So let's move on and take a look at the forecast charts now to put the details onto the forecast. And again, through the remainder of Monday, patchy rain and drizzle, more nuisance value rather than anything in terms of significant precipitation, will steadily move north and east through the rest of the afternoon and on into the evening. So again, a damp period of weather on the way, and also becoming quite breezy as well this afternoon. Now into the overnight period and through into Tuesday morning, and essentially much of the wet weather will clear. As a result, we start Tuesday relatively dry across much of Ireland, some brighter sunny intervals despite variable amounts of cloud. And at the moment, Tuesday will be one of the better days of the week. Some brighter sunny spells developing, particularly across parts of the south and east of the country, and in some sunshine through the afternoon, certainly feeling pleasant enough for the time of year. However, approaching from the northwest, so quite an active region of wet and windy weather, and that will begin to move into parts of the north and west by the end of the afternoon, and then more particularly into the evening and overnight. So this is the latest weather chart for around about 10 o'clock or so on Tuesday evening. The wet and windy weather becoming increasingly apparent across parts of the north and west. Now into Tuesday night, and those wet and windy conditions spread south and east across many areas, so a pretty wet and windy and autumnal night is forecast on Tuesday night and through into Wednesday. So we start Wednesday, unfortunately, not on a pretty note. It will be pretty wet and windy, particularly across more southern and eastern areas of the country as that weather system tries to clear away. So expect a wet and again windy start on Wednesday morning. However, the good news, generally, the more persistent rain will begin to pull away, and it will be an improving scenario through the rest of Wednesday. So after the poor start, some brighter sunny intervals developing, particularly across southern and eastern areas after the wet start. A few scattered showers can't be ruled out, however, through the afternoon across parts of the north and west. Now, through into Wednesday evening, and many of the showers will clear away, and a reasonable end to Wednesday is forecast. And through into the overnight period and on into Thursday, and it will generally be a predominantly dry start to the day on Thursday. And this continues to highlight and emphasise this really quite changeable and varied period of weather. So into Thursday the 12th, and again, decent start, some brighter sunny intervals as things stand, despite variable amounts of cloud. Now through much of Thursday, it will generally be mainly dry with some brighter sunny spells, albeit with increasingly windy conditions, a strong southwesterly wind beginning to develop. Now by the time we get to the end of Thursday, and conditions then change once again and become more unsettled at the moment. Many northern and western areas, this is the weather chart for around about 9 o'clock on Thursday evening, becoming increasingly wet and windy. Note the close proximity of the black lines as ever the isobars, which indicates an increasingly windy period of weather. Strong southwesterly winds will develop, and essentially that means a very unsettled period of weather as things stand to end the working week. We move through into Friday with wet weather persisting across much of the country, and then on into Friday afternoon, the wet weather still there across much of the country, and it will also be pretty windy as well. But importantly, despite the unsettled weather, it really will be a very mild end to the week due to the fact that winds will be coming up from the southwest. And if I just highlight that, winds coming in from the southwest, up from parts of the Azores, and as a result that means a very, very warm and very, very mild period of weather for the middle of October to end the working week. So if we just quickly take a look at those temperatures now through the coming week, and you can see through the rest of Monday, temperatures are around about average 12 to 14 degrees. Nights this week, relatively mild, minimum temperatures perhaps 7 or 8 or 9 degrees tonight into Tuesday, but again, minimum temperatures this week, certainly nothing untoward for the time of year. Through into Tuesday, and again, temperatures around about 11 to 14, perhaps 15 degrees, which isn't far from average. A pretty chilly night is possible on Wednesday night and through into Thursday. Minimum temperatures perhaps just 6 or 7 degrees, but just highlighting these rising temperatures towards the end of the week. Through the course of Thursday afternoon, as you can see, temperatures perhaps up to 15 or 16 degrees, and then through into Friday itself, maximum temperatures again, particularly across some southern and eastern areas of the country, perhaps rising to 16, 17 and maybe even locally 18 degrees Celsius, which is a good 2 or 3 degrees above average. So again, highlighting this very mild, if not warm, end to the working week. So let's summarise our weekly weather summary. Clearly a lot going on with the weather as the very varied and changeable conditions continue. Through the rest of Monday, increasingly cloudy and damp across much of the country, but perhaps especially across parts of the north and west. But Tuesday will be a mainly dry day with some brighter sunny intervals, but then becoming increasingly wet and windy across the north and west late in the day. Through into Wednesday, it will be a wet start, especially across the south and east of the country, but the persistent rain clearing away to somewhat cooler conditions midweek. But there will be some sunshine through the course of Wednesday afternoon, but with scattered showers too. And then at the moment in time, through into Thursday the 12th, it will be mainly dry for much of Thursday, again with some brighter sunny spells and becoming increasingly mild, if not very mild, but then becoming wet and windy overnight. And we end the working week with quite a cloudy and windy day, with persistent rain set to dominate across much of the country through Friday. But importantly, despite the unsettled weather, it will be very mild, if not actually quite warm. So that's all the latest details for the week ahead. As ever, I'll be back in the midweek update on Wednesday, fine-tuning those details for Thursday and Friday, and also taking a quick look as things stand for the weekend's weather too. So thanks very much for tuning in, and as ever, I'll be back with you very soon.